All right, we're going to give people a few minutes to log in. Thank you for joining us, and we'll get started in just a couple of minutes. It's going to be a little behind up there, but you see this. All right, once again, I see people signing in. Please tag, shares, tell a friend, tell a friend. We'd like as many people possible to get this information that we are going to. We got a lot of technology when you self-produce it and you're on the stream right now. So we're just making sure that we can bring it to you. Everyone can hear us. Once again, thanks for joining us on this Sunday afternoon. What our goal is today is to have a discussion. There's been a lot of discussion about the Tallahassee Memorial Hospital, Florida State University uh, medicine merger. I am pleased to have with us for this conversation Commissioner Dianne Williams-Cox. How you doing
I am
this
doing
afternoon?
well, thank you.
Good day in church?
A great day in church. And from the top, happy birthday to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Taking up time on your birthday for this community issue. We appreciate
Well,
that.
as a small business during the week, I have to work, so the only opportunity I had for this was today. And my family and I will hit dinner a little bit later on. It's been a wonderful morning already. So, um, once again, thank everyone for joining in. As many of you that are on, please share. Let other people know that we're on and we're discussing this subject because it is a very important subject as far as Tallahassee is concerned. Um, and we'll just start from the top. Um, as of late, there's been a lot of talk of a merger or partnership between Florida State University and Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare. Now, TMH started in 1948. It's been here for 77 years as of 2025. It began as a small facility before it moved to where it is now. And the city has been highly involved in the hospital. Just first, as we do this conversation, I think it's very important to talk about the history of the city of Tallahassee and the hospital.
Right, as you said, the hospital started all those years ago, but in 1979, the city really became like the lessor of what we know as Tallahassee Memorial Hospital. And for $1 a year, the city has collected that $1 a year and have been asked through the years. This commission inherited it to approve board members. So that has been pretty much the activity that the city of Tallahassee has had with the hospital. The hospital has operated on its own, independently, other than those items.
Okay, so the in 2008, as far as 2008, as far as my research shows, is that Florida State and TMH began to talk about enhancing partnerships to upgrade the hospital. Now, as a resident, a longtime resident of Tallahassee, um, you've had some experiences that have been great, some that have been maybe not so great, but I think that's with any hospital or any healthcare facility.
Hmm.
My daughter was born there. Uh, my parents were attended there. Fortunately, I only had to go there one time with a football injury, and it was taken care of.
Hmm.
But I also know that it has become a learning ground for Tallahassee State College students, Florida State students, as well as FAMU students.
Hmm.
And so one of the concerns that a lot of people have um, up front is what does this partnership mean for FAMU and Tallahassee State College as far as access to the educational things that are derived from FAMU's partnership with TMH.
If anything changes, it will be an expansion because what this will allow for is for additional resources to be brought in, and it also expands the reach. And so that these students will not only have to get that experience here, they could also branch out into some of the rural areas as well. Just case in point, I was at the emergency room at TMH just the other night with a friend, very close friend, and was very pleased to just watch it operate. The nurse was a graduate of Florida A&M University. My granddaughter was working there. She was responsible for the EKG, and several other folks who had finished pre-med at FAMU and was getting ready to go to nursing school. And
Mhm.
so we know, and many other times I've been at the hospital and have encountered, at that time, TCC students who provided care. This opportunity will expand the chances of these individuals, these young people, being able to get good quality experience in an academic environment.
Okay, so once again, if you're in, and we've got a good number of people who've already jumped online. If you have questions, please put them in the chat. We will, as we go along, try to make sure we check the chats and um, and make sure that we get this. This is not about Vaughn Wilson sitting down for the information. Um, I've read, I've summarized, I've called commissioners directly, but I just know so many people just are not
Right.
understanding this whole process of the merger. It's almost like as if, and one of the major concerns, let's just talk about the elephant in the room,
Yeah.
and even I have this concern. I would not like the hospital to be turned over to Florida State, and then the governance of that hospital come from the governor's office or the state of Florida to run our hospital.
Right.
That's a big concern, and I think it hasn't been addressed enough up front so that people feel confident. We know Florida A&M and Florida State are state institutions.
Mhm.
Therefore, the state of Florida has the authority to make changes as they see fit, with information, just
Resources.
with resources
Mhm.
and all of those types of things. There is a big fear
Mhm.
that if this merger happens, the hospital will be controlled by the state of Florida.
Well, I understand that concern. All I can say is that there have been safeguards put in place in the governance in the memorandum of understanding where none of the board members are being appointed by the state. Now, I know that in this political climate, we've seen a lot of things that shouldn't be happening. They happen, but we can only control the controllables. And so, what we've tried to do is make sure that it is known and expressed that the desire is to keep the hospital local. And to do that, that means that the members of the board appointed by FSU and TMH will come from our local community, and several may come from outside counties just to bring in that regional feel. But what the current leadership of government, we cannot control that, but we've got to grow beyond this current administration. Because if we don't seize this moment now to begin to broaden good health care for North Florida, then when do we start? And it is my prayer that the governor and others who may be watching and paying attention will allow this opportunity to happen so that we can say that we've improved health care for North Florida and for the state of Florida. And so we just have to control the controllables, and we're trying to do that in the memorandum of understanding, well, how the governance will work, how the board members are appointed. And I was very clear that I strongly encourage that a seat be at the table for Florida A&M University, and that a seat is at the table for Tallahassee State College, because right now they are partners in providing this health care in our community. And at the meeting the other day, there seemed to be a willingness to consider that. And I asked for compliance and not confrontation. But if compliance doesn't work, then we'll go to confrontation.
I agree. You can't talk about this level of health and medical change in the town and not let FAMU and TSC have at least a seat at the table on the board, because what we don't want to happen is a board come in and that board is not even Tallahassee residents. You know how boards get. They expand,
Hmm.
and we want people from this area, trusted people from this area, elected people from this area, um, to be in control of making the
Right.
decisions for TMH, especially the major decisions. TMH does maintain the management
If
of the hospital.
the operation, if the hospital will continue to operate as it currently does, and FSU is not going to go over there and run TMH, and TMH is not going to go over to FSU and run FSU. What FSU brings to the table is the ability to go and get those dollars, the resources that are needed, as they have done with the FSU Health that they broke ground on a couple of years ago, and as what they are doing in Panama City. So these partnerships are already fostered, they're already in place, and then the strongest way to keep this local is to make sure that that partnership between FSU and TMH occurs, as was voted unanimously by their board of directors. And we're our goal here at the city is not to debate or demand it, but what we're trying to do is make sure that we are good stewards for the residents, to make sure that we deliver good quality health care for individuals who can afford it or who cannot afford it. Because one of the questions that we keep getting, it deals with whether this is whether this is indigent care. Indigent care has been a part of TMH, will continue to be a part of TMH. We're not That is not going to change. So whether you can afford health care or not, TMH will be where you can go to get the health care that you need, and it will be taken care of as it has been in the past.
James Danley has a question. What capabilities would be added to this region, and how fast would that happen? Because that's a big question. Part of the sell on making this partnership, as it would eliminate some of, not all, it would eliminate some of the trips to
Yes.
possibly Mayo Clinic and to Shands and to the Moffitt Cancer
Right.
Center and areas like that. What capabilities have been mentioned that would come that would eliminate some of those? We know all of them can't be eliminated. Let's be clear. Some of those practices take years.
Right. To
It
ramp
takes a
up.
lot of professionals. It takes a lot of infrastructure. So some of those delicate things will not be coming anytime soon. Not saying maybe in the future,
Hmm.
but for right now, all of the capabilities that those specialized hospitals that have specialized staff, that have specialized equipment, will not immediately come
Right.
to TMH. Let's take that off the table. It
Right.
won't immediately happen. But there are goals to bring some of those
Right.
procedures that are done that are have to be traveled to.
Right.
And if you can expand on that.
And as the CEO, Mark O'Brien, said at the meeting the other day, in order for those things to come in, we've got to expand the population. That means that we've got to make this more regional than not just Tallahassee, so that we can bring those specialists in. It's personal for me. My husband has a liver transplant. We had to go to Shands to get that done, and we've had to go back and forth. My chief of staff is a three-time cancer survivor. We go to Moffitt for her treatments. So it's personal for me, and we've got to start now to begin to build the capacity to do those kinds of things. And I know that one of the things that was mentioned at the meeting the other day was pediatric care, some of the specialized care we need for our children. Those are the kinds of things that we'll be able to, from my understanding, be able to ramp up on sooner than later. But we've got to start in order to begin to that expansion for a healthier North Florida.
Eustacia has a question about, will the hospital still assist those patients that are underinsured, not insured, partially insured, and have no insurance coverage?
Absolutely.
And yeah, and that is
That is
that is
very
in
important.
and that is very clearly outlined in the memorandum of understanding, because that's one of the first things I went to make
Right.
sure that that ability for those who are underinsured or uninsured, period,
Right.
if they walk into that hospital, they'll be cared for. That is in the memorandum of understanding. It's very, very clear. Yes, I did read the entire memorandum of
Right.
understanding to prepare for this. It was kind of a it was a brain drain, but this is very important.
It
When
is
you talk
very
about
important.
you talk about life or death, the decisions. to do several things that have changed over time. Those are not life or death, but when you talk about the hospital, the local hospital, who's been the lifeline for so many residents for years,
Hmm.
people are a little uneasy.
Understand.
So, can you explain why the time frame seems like it's compressed?
Yeah.
The time frame to get this done. I know they had the public hearing earlier this week. I couldn't attend because I was working. And
Hmm.
there's another public hearing on the 22nd,
October 22nd at 6 p.m. in the evening.
and that one will be in the evening. So we want to make sure any residents that have any questions that we don't answer, we don't purport to know all of the
No.
answers. And to the question that I got, why didn't I bring more commissioners? I want to be real clear. If you bring more than one commissioner and they're discussing issues, you have to have first special permission, you have to notice the meeting, and you actually have to allow every single commissioner to be there. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to talk and have a basic talk to try to get some information out. I didn't want back and forth. So I selected Commissioner Cox because I had access to her to get her to be here. So that is why we only have one commissioner. We can't have, more officials here because I don't want to be sitting here governing a, a Robert's Rule of Order meeting with all of the commissioners sitting around. That's not my job. That's way past my pay grade and my patience. So I want to thank Commissioner Cox for agreeing to join us here on this
Well,
Sunday
well,
after
thank
church.
you. Thank you for the opportunity because my goal here today is to make sure that we provide information because I want my community to be informed. I want them to know what's going on. And this is an opportunity, but I'm open for other opportunities to discuss. And if I can, let me go ahead and jump in with a question that I've seen and heard over
Yes.
and over again, dealing with the appraisal of TMH. Well, we really what we're talking about is evaluation, and the words matter. Words matter. Evaluation looks at more detailed information because we're not looking at transferring a business, and TMH is not for sale. We have a lease agreement with TMH, and we cannot break that lease and then go sell it to someone. The lease agreement is the $1 a year that we've been able to get. This would be a transfer, and now Florida State has done their own valuation. The city of Tallahassee is ordering a valuation to be done by an objective third party. And that's how the negotiation happens. They have a number, we'll have a number, and the negotiations will occur as a part of what will come back to the meeting on October 22nd. And so what we voted for at this last meeting was not have an appraisal, not to have an evaluation, but for the city manager to do the valuation, all the other things that needed to be done, because there's a checklist of things that will need to be done to bring back that information. We fully expect that we will get a valuation from someone who is experienced, a company that is experienced, that has no relationship with us, that we will be able to then use to make a decision on how will the taxpayers benefit from this partnership, because that's where it boils down to how will our residents benefit, not only financially, but how will they benefit through health care for those who can and cannot afford it. How do we deal with the economic piece of it, because people will come to Tallahassee to do this work, and we want them to come in throughout the region, and how we deal with the rural communities and where healthcare is really, really needed. So all of those things are factors that will need to be a part of any decision.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that obviously there a platform has been laid with the memorandum of understanding, but there's still a whole set of
Work to be done.
continuation and
Yes,
things to do so that
right.
this can come into fruition. Chuck Hobbs asks, how will this agreement impact the schools of nursing, allied health, and pharmacy at Florida A&M?
Well, as the letter that we received from the joint letter that we received, the president and the CEO of TMH indicated that there would be no change other than the expansion was encouraged. that more school of nursing, more physical therapy, occupational therapy, pharmacy, more of those students will be able to come to Florida and come to the FSU Health to get this experience and training. And like I said the other night, I saw many of them, many folks already there. And as a matter of fact, there was a young man who is finishing graduating, and he is excited about the possibility of being able to apply to FSU Health for his medical training. And so we're hoping that for students like that, Florida A&M, Tallahassee State College, those students will be able to continue to do what they're doing at TMH, but also have opportunities for expansion of other services that can be provided. And I've seen a number of community members talk about what that could be. It could not only just be medical, it could be business related as well, because TMH is a business. FSU Health is a business. And so there may be opportunities to expand what we're currently doing.
Timothy Mosley made a comment, and I think I know the answer, but I would like to hear from you.
Okay.
It says, I think TMH needs to keep it as it is and have TMH to build another hospital to bring in other specialists. What is the feasibility of that?
Well, I think that that has been researched, but according to, again, the CEO, Mark O'Brien, this partnership has been on the books in their strategic plan since 2008. And this is the next level. This is what's going on across the state. As you see, the University of Florida and Florida and Shands. You also see the University of South Florida in Moffitt and Tampa General. You also see in Miami, University of Miami and their health services there. These academic medical centers are the trend. They're being very aggressive. And if we don't seize this moment to do this with local FSU and local TMH and FAMU and TSC, someone may come in and want to do this and not necessarily have the interest of our community and what our community stands for. So we're needing to do this now. Building another separate hospital. There is another hospital in the city already. It is a for-profit hospital. And what's to prevent another hospital from coming in to be for profit? This merger, this partnership can help fend some of that off.
RJ Blackhat is a commission has a question. I'm sorry, RJ. Will the hospital be run by the state to lower hospital costs? What say do we as citizens have in the current operations of TMH? Who's in charge?
Thank you for that question. That's one of my homegirls from Quincy. I recognize that. The state does not run TMH right now. The state does not run FSU Health. It does, the legislature does provide funding for it. And so, like it does for everything else, but those are your tax dollars also at work. And it is my understanding that that will not be a factor. And I can't remember the rest of her question about uh, who runs it now. TMH will continue to operate the hospital just as they do. The employees will continue to be there. The patient care will be the same. And FSU will, on the other side, provide resources, financial resources to help expand into this academic medical center.
In response to on a response we got on our original post when you and I posted that we were going to do this podcast, I want to read this from Tina Certain. She said, learn from Gainesville,
Yeah.
Alachua County. Leaders gave UF Shands, Alachua General Hospital for $1. I knew and repeatedly said UF Health had no intention of keeping AGH open. They wanted the land which was close to campus. There was no proposed board. So I suggest the reverter clause or a requirement that UF Health pay the county if they close the hospital, which they did about 3 years after the transfer. Our city gave away valuable land and medical assets for $1 and got nothing in return. Expansions have all been away from the economically depressed areas that need access to health care. Stay united and lean in hard on the FSU TMH group to get concessions in writing and to keep taxpayers from being shafted.
I read that as well. That's my good sorority sister, Tina Certain, and I reached out to her because I did read that. And this is what we're doing. This is why there has been an MOU. This is why the negotiations are taking place. This is why there will be evaluation because we currently are only getting $1 per year. And that's prime real estate where the hospital
Hmm.
is. And so we're not going to fall for the for another dollar a year for taxpayers for this valuable asset.
Hmm.
We're going to negotiate between the two valuations that we will have and make sure that the citizens of the Tallahassee are amply compensated for the sacrifice of this partnership.
Awesome. I want to read a little piece of Christique Henry wrote a column in the Tallahassee Democrat. I'm going to read just two paragraphs. I want to try to give as much information as I can from as many different perspectives. We can't just come from one side,
Right.
or we won't get any
That's right.
information. So I'm just going to read what Christique wrote. She said, "To be clear, my perspective isn't about criticizing leaders who are negotiating this merger. It's about accountability and the role we as residents must play in guiding such a catalytic move. Because make no mistake, this is not just about health care. This is not just about healthcare. It's about regional economic development,
Hmm.
workforce pipelines, and the long-term identity of our city. In conclusion, with transparency, community engagement, and true governance inclusion, this merger could be a huge win for Tallahassee. The details matter, and I look forward to seeing them. But for now, I encourage all of us to stay hopeful, stay engaged, and remember that for our capital city, healthcare will always be personal. And these are excerpts from her. I encourage you to read um, her op-ed in the Tallahassee Democrat, and it was saying how healthcare is personal.
Hmm.
While it is a business for some, uh, if I have an injury or if I need the hospital, I don't need to be thinking about who owns the hospital,
That's
who's
right.
working there, and that sort of thing. Right now, I don't.
That's right.
If I have an injury, if my mother has an issue, when we take her there, we don't even think about who is operating that. We know that they have her information on file. If I'm taking my mom in, check in is quick.
Hmm.
Is relative, to the injuries, and
Right.
they prioritize it relative to the injuries and that sort. But I know that I can get in and I'll get a level of health care uh, pretty quickly, that they accept our health provider
Hmm.
and those type of things. And I think one of the concerns that a lot of citizens have who haven't had an opportunity to do what I did and read the whole memorandum of understanding, to talk to a few commissioners to get some clarity on things. A big concern of the general public who hasn't had time or access to those is we don't want to see a whole bunch of changes
Right.
when we need that hospital.
Right.
No matter what color the signs are outside, whether it's blue like it is now, or if it's garnet and gold with a spear on it, we want to make sure that when we go in that hospital, we're taken care of. We want to make sure that FAMU students who have come to FAMU for allied health and pharmacy still have the opportunity for internships and
Hmm.
whatever those things are called that they
That's
do
right.
over at the
That's right.
hospital.
That's
Those
right.
I forgot where they're called, but that is a major
Clinicals.
concern. Clinicals,
Clinicals.
that's it.
Hmm. Hmm.
That all of FAMU students don't lose any access to that, as
Absolutely.
well as TSC. We,
Absolutely.
we include TSC in that as well. I think any of us local don't want any of that to change. And
And it will not. It will not. That would be a deal breaker. That would be a deal breaker for me and for all the commissioners. I can think I can speak for them because based on what we've read and what we've seen, we have been assured, and it is in writing, that TMH will continue to operate as it is operating. There will be no change in how people are accepted, no matter their background, no matter their insurance level, with insurance, without insurance. Our students will still be able to go over there and do their clinicals and do their studies, and also be eligible to be hired for those positions. So that is our assurance. It's going to be in writing. It is in writing in the MOU, and to be tightened up with it with any agreement. That will not change. We don't need you to think about whether you're going to be okay when you go to TMH. I am assured that you're going to be okay when you go to TMH. For me, it is personal as well. As I've said many, many times, my family has worked at TMH. I have family working there right now, as a matter of fact. My husband, my children, my mother-in-law, my daughter-in-law, all have worked at TMH at some point in life. And if I had any doubt or any question about the quality of care that we would be providing, I would be jumping up and down on this table and in the streets myself. I do not have that concern. And based on what I've seen and what I've read and the conversation that I've had, that will not change.
Okay, good. Our good friend Sharon Berrien has a question. She says, "Can you talk more about the economic impact and benefit of the proposed merger, and also the potential benefits for healthcare providers and staff?"
Absolutely. As the CEO said, when you're expanding the population that will be served by this academic care facility, that means that we'll have more researchers coming in. We'll be able to bring different types of specialists in. Those people will come and live and work and play and spend money here in this community. We'll also have greater opportunities to hire. It will feed the hospitality industry. It will feed everything that is needed to make sure that people live, safely here in our city. So bringing those kinds of individuals here and them living here and participating in our population and in our economy, all of that is a plus plus. Those are jobs. Those are opportunities for not just allied health students, not just nursing students or pharmacy students, but for other students, as I mentioned, business students and others to be able to have work and to be able to do the things that we're currently doing. So I see that as an economic, healthcare as being an economic driver in our community. And it helps to take us to the next level as it has done in other communities. FSU Health, UF Health, University of South Florida and their health center in Miami. It's the natural progression for North Florida to move in that direction.
Um, there will always be doubt, and Monroe Darrell has his doubts. He says it will benefit more of FSU students when once they get full control. They will put in place whomever they want.
Well, unfortunately, I do not. I don't. Well, I don't agree with that. What we have right now, why would that change? Why would FSU is not
Because
going
if
to
there's a board, Florida State will not have complete control
complete control,
because
right?
it's managed by TMH. It's
Right.
still managed by TMH.
And as we've said earlier, we're extremely expressing very strongly that there's a FAMU chair as well as a Tallahassee State College chair at the table.
Okay, I'd also like to, after the meeting, Commissioner Matlow, and I talked to him briefly, and I'm just going to put a couple of points that Commissioner Matlow expressed in his video. Like I said, we can't just do one side. We want to be as balanced as possible and give people as much information as possible. Uh, some of it, as I read the memorandum of understanding a couple times, it actually addressed some of the uh, some of the questions. But one of his concerns was concerned about the value of the transfer of money that the city has invested in the hospital. Um, and also, he says he doesn't want people to have false hope and feels that the notion that once this happens, citizens won't have to travel to Mayo in Jacksonville or Shands in Gainesville or Health in Miami will cease. Some travel will still have to be made to those hospitals as the capacity to do some of those specialized procedures will not be at TMH, even though this partnership will bring new capacity to the hospital. Um, and also and he also did have a concern about the makeup of the board. Um, and I think if we're able to get a FAMU person on there and a TSC person, the balance of the board with it just being uh, it's nine
It's
and eight.
seven, yeah, 17. The first year is 10 and 7. There's there, one has 10 and the other one has 7, but it's a 17 person board, and as it's spelled out in the memorandum of understanding. And then the second year is where there's a change of 9 and 8. But that's for a 17 member board. I asked the other day about, and provided the flexibility. They could do 17, they could do 19, as long as there's a representative for Florida A&M and Tallahassee State College on that board. Now, granted, right now there is a employee of Florida A&M on the TMH board, but she is not there. Is my understanding. She is not there to represent FAMU. She is there because she was there and she happened to be an employee of Florida A&M. So they could easily take that seat and make that the FAMU appointed seat. As I've said, assigned seats like we've done on some of our other citizen boards, where this seat will always be a Florida A&M seat, or this seat will always be a TSC seat. So they could do that. And Commissioner Matlow is correct that we won't be able to immediately provide these specialized services where you won't have to drive to other places. But what we're trying to do is to start now, so that in the future, in the near future, we you won't have to do those things. Like I said, I've driven to, my car knows the way to Shan. It knows the exit to get off on and everything. We've driven to Tampa for my chief of staff and my bestie for her cancer treatment. We want to one day be able to do those things here, but we've got to start now. We've got to get into this legislative budget cycle, so that Florida State can get in there and request the financial resources that are needed to support this. We also have the hospital over in Panama City Beach. All of those things are hinging on us being able to do this, to bring all of this together now. And as you know, I'm from Quincy. As I mentioned, my Quincy friend who called, who phoned in, I want there to be a hospital in Quincy. But that's only going to happen if we're able to do these things that we're trying to do now and bring in those additional resources to try to make this happen.
And just to be transparent, as I read things and as I know about universities, one of the big advantages of this partnership would be that Florida State is able to attract pools of money that TMH absolutely could not.
Nor the city.
Nor the city. There are going to be pools of money that are there for educational institutions on national and some international levels to study, to research, to operate that TMH as the primary would not be able to access. Florida State as the primary would be able to access those additional dollars, which could enhance the capacity of TMH to perform some of these procedures
Mm-hmm.
that we now have to go out of town. I had a situation with my father um, in, in 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 his time of diminishing. We had to hit the road to Jacksonville, to Mayo. We were
All right.
over there all the time. He had to stay there extended periods of times.
Mm-hmm.
There are some of those things that we had to do over there that I do wish we could do
Do
here.
here. Mm-hmm.
Some of the smaller things. Now, some of the bigger things, I just had confidence that those doctors over there, as you do at Shands,
Mm-hmm.
those doctors, they and those hospitals have those processes, and they've done it over time, so it's proven.
Right.
So even if we started doing it here, you want to,
We've got
I
to
wouldn't
build
be
the
the first. You
trust.
got to
You
build a
got to build a
trust. Yeah,
trust. Yeah,
yeah, you got to build a
absolutely.
trust. And that was something that some employees of TMH in the past that I know of were disappointed that they didn't have the capacity to keep
Right.
people from having to make those drives to Gainesville
Mm-hmm.
and to Jacksonville. So this is a step in the direction of making that happen. Once this deal is done, we don't automatically have that capacity.
Right.
The goal is to start that process so that in years to come, there will be less um,
Need.
missing capacities
Yeah.
from TMH that we can actually, with this partnership, bring in and keep people from having to make as many,
Mm-hmm.
and let's be honest, there are situations where there are specialists across the country and hospitals across the country. That's they're still going to go to that knee surgeon that does all the NFL players. They're
Right.
still going to
Right.
go to this
John
person,
Hopkins.
yeah, and
Yeah.
for those specialties.
Yeah.
But we just want to try to add as many more of those capacities that we can here
Mm-hmm.
and keep the
Keep it
general
local.
citizen from having to make those
Mm-hmm.
trips, over
Right.
the state of Florida.
Right.
All right, make sure if you're in the chat, you're putting in the questions. Timothy Mosley says, so with the hospital being limited with space, how will they house these specialists?
Well, we fully expect that with FSU Health, there will be expansion of the campus there and maybe in the surrounding areas. I don't know, I can't speak to what their immediate plans are for for that expansion, but we do know that ground was broken, like I said, a couple of years ago for FSU Health on the campus of the hospital, and that was done as a partnership between FSU and TMH, and they received the dollars to do that from the state of Florida.
Wayne Dunwoody said, classmate, don't forget about Perry.
Yep.
Let's get FAMU and FSU involved here and keep up the great job. And so this is something that I learned,
Go
Dunwoody.
Cowboys.
Yeah. What time for Wayne, Dallas Cowboys, Dunwoody? The Cowboys won today.
They were winning.
They were winning. We'll see what that is. You see, she got a blue and white on today. But one thing I learned in this process in doing research for this podcast, hospitals are generally um, considered regionalized for within like 100-mile radius. So the benefits and accelerated expansion of TMH would also benefit the rural areas
That's
like
right.
like
Absolutely.
Commissioner
Like Perry, Taylor County, Jefferson
Thomas and
County.
Thomas County, even
Yeah.
Thomas
Yeah.
County. And
All of
so
those.
yeah, hospitals are rated by the number of population within a 100-mile radius.
Right.
And so um, Perry is included in that number. So we have not forgot about Perry, Taylor
Absolutely.
County.
Absolutely.
And so make sure you put your questions in. Um,
And let me just say that we've been watching. We got a list of questions that we know that have been asked. And after this podcast, the city of Tallahassee will be providing some FAQs for the public. And again, like I said, I'm happy to come wherever it is I need to come because I want our citizens to know that we're doing the best job that we can to make sure that they get healthy, stay healthy, and that their future continues to be bright by making sure students have access to the training that they will need to be able to continue to do this work, and that TMH and FSU will have what they need to be able to help keep us healthy.
yes, and I just want to make sure that you take it back to the commission that it's one thing to talk about us expanding a stadium
Hmm.
or bringing up Bucky's here.
Hmm.
This doesn't fit in those categories.
Doesn't fit in those
This one is
categories.
just like Christique said. This one is very personal
Yes.
because the decisions you make at a time of distress, at a time when it's not distress, that you
Hmm.
can go in a place and be assured that you're getting
Yes.
quality health care for yourself or for your loved ones. One thing TMH has done is they have, um, in the most part, and no hospital is perfect. For the most part, TMH has provided that to us.
They have.
Uh, when it was before it was Memorial Healthcare, we knew Tallahassee Memorial Hospital (TMH). It sat on that corner, Magnolia and
Hmm.
Miccosukee,
Hmm.
forever, and we know that to be a safe haven. That when you're in a desperate need and you need health care, that the best that we have um, in our immediate vicinity has been TMH.
Well, and let me on that note, let me just deal with this elephant that's in the room many times. I know the history. The history is very important. But what I am trying to do, and I'm hoping that you will join me, is using that history to propel us forward to make sure that the bad history does not get repeated. And that's why it is important that at this moment in time where we're about to do something that's generational, it's transformative. I want to make sure that we go together, that we're all together on this, and we don't want to leave people behind because I know the stories and things that happened with FAMU Hospital and with TMH. My aunt, who was a graduate of Florida University School of Nursing, was not able to go to TMH to do her clinical. She had to go out of town back in the 50s and 60s to do her clinicals, and she shares that history with Miss Altamise Barnes. Shared some personal stories with. I bring all of that to the table because all of those things make it, like Christine says, it makes it personal. And we want to make sure that going forward, we ain't going back to that. Just understand, we ain't going back to that. So we're trying to use that history to inform us to move forward and make the best of this situation and make decisions that are not just for us today, but for the future to come. My great granddaughter, who is on her way next month, maybe anytime, is going to be born at TMH. Her dad works there. So I'm just saying, it's personal to me. When my husband, before he got his kidney transplant, he was in ICU there and he received excellent care. And so it's that kind of thing. And my husband was a retiree from TMH. And he said very little about this. And I've asked him, what do you think? He said, I don't work there anymore. So he's not even giving me input. But I want to make sure we understand that we know we understand the history and we ain't going back to that. We are moving forward together. to make sure that healthcare in North Florida is the best that it can be for the state of Florida.
All right, as we are wrapping up here, I wanna say this because this is on my page, and I have a lot of friends that follow me that say they trust my judgment on a lot of things. I would like to challenge each and every one of you to read that memorandum of understanding and don't let anybody just anybody interpret it for you, because the clauses in there is going to be what is going to guide this merger as it moves forward. Please read it and understand it for yourself. Talk to people, understand it for yourself. I can only explain so much. Um, I think I read through and talked to enough people to get some good understanding of what was going on. But I still have to watch and wait and watch it as the process plays
Right,
out
right.
to make sure that this memorandum of understanding is being followed,
Hmm.
and that it will continue to benefit all of the citizens of Tallahassee and Leon County. And as we expect and lean on those elected officials of ours within the city to make sure we guide our city into a place that will not benefit just one group, but
Right.
will benefit the entire Tallahassee, the Big Bend area, South Georgia, down to Wakulla,
Region.
wherever we're talking
Hmm.
about this region.
Hmm.
A good
All the way up
hospital
to
is
Panama
regional.
City.
Yeah, and Crestview, we talked about
That's right.
Crestview. We got the so please make sure you follow through yourself. Do what you can to read, research. I use some of the things I didn't understand when it started getting into medical terms that I didn't understand. I put it into Chat GPT and said, "What does this mean?" And it came out in plain language. I
Hmm.
encourage you all to stay informed. If you have additional questions, be at the city the city commission meeting on
October 22nd at
October
6 p.m.
26th, 22nd at 6 p.m. I'll keep reminding you of that to make sure that our voices are heard. This is a big move.
Hmm.
This is a transformational move, just like Commissioner Cox said. Don't sit back and let others make the decision for you. Don't feel like you're not part of the process. One thing, Tallahassee, I can say, it allows citizens to speak. As long as you're respectful, you have a voice. You have a voice in who you elect in the election cycles, and make sure, to pay attention to people that look out for you. Those are the people we need to elect.
Right.
And it's coming up on midterm elections. 2026 is midterm elections. Let these types of decisions and the people who take care of you make sure that those are the people that you continue to put in office. And so it's more than just this hospital issue. This is a this is a this is a life-changing event.
Hmm.
We're talking about our healthcare,
Right.
the doctors, the facilities, the procedures, the makeup of the hospital, the equipment at the hospital, the research that's being able to be done there,
Hmm.
the procedures that'll be able to be done there,
The
the
jobs.
jobs that'll
The,
come
hmm.
from that. And our comfort with that is
Right.
very important. Your health is your wealth. O'Neill Brown always says that, and he's correct. Your health is your wealth. So this is not an issue to stand on the sidelines and wait till something happens and then be upset. This is the opportunity to jump in and make sure you're a part of how this decision is guided. Commissioner Cox, thank you again
Well,
for.
and let me
Yeah,
just jump in and say I am available. I don't proclaim to have all of the answers, but I know where to get them. And as I said, reach out to me. I'm happy to come wherever it is that we need to come because I understand the concern. If I wasn't sitting here, I would have concerns because I didn't have information. I'm here to make sure we get the information, and I'm not the only commissioner that can provide information. But you want to make sure the information is the facts and not emotion, and that's why I'm here today to provide the facts. As I said, we will put out the some questions and answers that we have seen, and we also want to make sure that you can post the joint letter and the MOU on your site. On your page, I'll post it on my city of Tallahassee page, so you can easily get it and be able to read it, give it to some folks. I shared it with many folks and asked for their feedback on it, and we're here today to just continue to educate our community because an informed community is an educated community. And information about your health, you're right, your health is your wealth. Money can't buy good health.
Right.
Because if it could, some people would have more. But anyway, I'm available. Even during FAMU homecoming week. If you see me, you have a question, stop me. I'm happy to answer the
Don't
question.
ask me homecoming week. I will not be kind. Homecoming week is homecoming. You can stop, Commissioner Cox. Don't
Stop me.
ask me about TMH-FSU merger when y'all
Stop
see
me.
me do a homecoming.
Yeah, stop me, stop me. I'll be happy to entertain you and get. If I don't have the answers, like I said, I will take the question and get the answer. Our staff is very capable and will provide us with the information. But I want to make sure that we are comfortable in knowing that TMH will continue to operate like it's operating. The goal of this partnership is to bring forward those available resources that TMH or Northern City would be able to go and get on our own. Florida State is a nonprofit organization. They are tax exempt. They got good credit. And those of us who go to the bank for loans understand what that means. That when you can't get money from the legislature, then you can go borrow money. So they're able to borrow money and get good money to make this happen. So again, anyone who needs care at TMH, continue to go to TMH for your care. You will be seen whether you have insurance or not. This is not a giveaway. This is will be a transfer because we have a lease in place already for $1 a year. $1 a year is what we've been getting
And
for this.
that's not uncommon. That's
It's
done
not
everywhere.
uncommon.
It's
It's right.
for a city to have. I'm sure if you ask Gaston County if they could give a $1 lease, would they let a hospital be there? Yeah, they would. They would jump at the
Right.
chance,
Right.
and Perry would just as done what he said.
Yeah.
They would jump at the opportunity if all they had to do was offer a $1 a year lease to get quality health care.
Right.
That is not
It's
uncommon.
not uncommon. But now considering a transfer of that lease, we can't put it out for anybody to bid on it because we have this lease in place. So this is the process for doing this. It's not a giveaway. FSU has done their evaluation, so they have their number in mind. The city of Tallahassee evaluation will produce a number in mind, and negotiations will continue.
All right. Thank you all for joining. Thank you for your comments. It's our pleasure. Hello, Carmen Cummings. And we hope we helped you all somewhat understand what is going on and give you the opportunity to ask the questions because I know sometimes when things are moving fast and you feel you don't understand it, um, you can kind of feel lost. But I wanted to kind of slow it down and make sure we had at least a forum where we could just sit and talk about things. So we want to thank Scott for giving us the space in this beautiful lounge and turning the air conditioner on for us so we could do this. I want to again thank Commissioner Cox on a Sunday after church. My family has my birthday dinner. We're getting ready to go, so I'm not staying too long. So
Happy
that's
birthday.
all the information I'm giving you all tonight.
And I'm on my way to my heartbeat number 6 coronation. He is king of the second grade at FAMU DRS.
Oh, wow. All right. So that's important.
That is.
So once again, have a good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us.